Terraria was created with a vision of combining the open world exploration of games like Minecraft with the side-scrolling action of classic games like Super Mario Bros. The game quickly gained a dedicated fanbase for its vast array of tools, weapons, and magical items that allowed players to create, explore, and conquer a seemingly endless variety of worlds. Over the years, Terraria has seen multiple updates and expansions, each adding more content and depth to the game. From new biomes like the Corruption and the Crimson to bosses such as the Wall of Flesh and the Moonlord, and new gameplay mechanics like fishing and NPC housing, Terraria has continued to evolve and grow. In 2019, the game celebrated its 8th anniversary with the release of the massive Journey's End update, which added over 800 new items, dozens of new enemies, and numerous quality of life improvements. With this update, Terraria reached its ultimate form, offering players a complex sandbox experience with countless hours of gameplay. In this video, we'll dive into the deep history of Terraria, exploring its development, its most iconic moments, and its impact on the gaming industry. So sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on a journey through the history of Terraria. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to the game, there's something for everyone in this epic adventure, so let's get started. The idea for Terraria came to Andrew Spinks in 2010 as he was working on a 3D sandbox game. Feeling burnt out and frustrated with the direction of the project he was taking, he decided to take a break and work on a smaller, more manageable project. That project became Terraria. Spinks wanted to create a game that combined elements of classic 2D side-scrolling games with the open-world exploration of sandbox-style games like Minecraft. He was inspired by games like Metroid and Castlevania, which featured non-linear exploration and progression. He also drew inspiration from the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons, with its emphasis on player choice and character customization. With the help of his colleague, which now is his wife, Whitney, Spinks set to work on Terraria. The game was developed using the XNA framework, a tool set for creating games on Microsoft platforms. The development process was relatively straightforward, with Spinks handling most of the programming and Whitney handling the art and design. The first version of Terraria was released on PC in May of 2011, and it quickly gained a following. Players were drawn to the game's retro-style graphics, its unique blend of exploration and combat, and its emphasis on player choice and creativity. The game's mechanics were simple but effective. Players would explore a vast randomly generated world filled with dangerous enemies, hidden treasures, and unique biomes. They could gather resources, craft new items, and build structures using a variety of materials. One of the game's most unique features was its emphasis on digging and mining. Players could use a variety of tools, including pickaxes and explosives, to dig deep into the earth and discover new treasures and resources. This aspect of the game became a major focus for players as they sought to uncover the game's many secrets and hidden treasures. As the game gained popularity, Spinks and his team began working on new updates and features to keep players engaged. First major update was version 1.1, which was released in December of 2011. It added new biomes, bosses, and items to the game, as well as gameplay mechanics like NPC housing and our beloved hard mode. Despite its humble beginnings, Terraria had struck a chord with players, offering a unique and engaging experience that was unlike anything else currently on the market. After the success of the first major update, Terraria continued to receive regular updates and expansions that added new content features and gameplay mechanics to the game. Version 1.2 was a major turning point for Terraria, adding a staggering amount of new content to the game that vastly expanded the possibilities for exploration, combat, and creativity. Perhaps the most significant addition was the introduction of several new biomes, each with its own unique enemies, items, and challenges. The underground jungle biome, for example, introduced new enemies like hornets, man-eaters, as well as powerful new weapons like the blade of grass, the ivy whip. Meanwhile, the ocean biome added some new creatures like sharks and jellyfish, as well as fishing mechanics that allowed players to catch a variety of fish and other aquatic creatures. In addition to new biomes, version 1.2 introduced a wealth of new bosses, each with their own unique abilities and challenges. The Plantera boss, which was of course accessed after you had defeated the Wall of Flesh and all the mechanical bosses, and Golem, which required for you to defeat a series of powerful enemies in order to access the actual temple, and his spawn location. The Duke Fishron boss required players to catch a special worm within a dedicated biome in order to summon it. All of these bosses not only provided new challenges for the player to overcome, but also added new items and rewards that allowed players to further customize their characters and playstyles. Aside from these major major additions, version 1.2 also introduced a ton of new items, mechanics, and quality of life improvements that further enhanced the gameplay experience. Players could create a whole vast variety of brand new armor sets and accessories, as well as new types of furniture and decorations for their homes. They could also use new crafting stations like the steampunk boiler and the honey dispenser to create new items and resources, well, most notably decorations, and the addition of NPCs like the truffle and the witch doctor added a whole wealth of new items that you could purchase. Overall, version 1.2 was a massive expansion that greatly enhanced the gameplay experience of Terraria and cemented its place as one of the most beloved indie games of all time. By far, this was their biggest update yet, and while it was a tough act to follow, the development team at Relogic continued to push the boundaries of what was possible with each subsequent update, keeping the players engaged and entertained for years to come. One of the key reasons for Terraria's enduring popularity has been its vibrant modding community, which came into play around this time in a very simplistic way. From the early days of the game, players have been creating custom mods that added new content, features, and gameplay mechanics to the base game. Some mods are relatively simple, offering small tweaks and adjustments that make the game more balanced or enjoyable. For example, all the various quality of life mods that add a variety of small features and improvements that enhance the gameplay experience. Other mods, however, are much more ambitious, adding new biomes, bosses, enemies, items, and mechanics that can completely change the way the game is played. For example, the Calamity mod, which you are probably all very fond of and you know, is a massive overhaul that adds a wealth of new content to the game, including new biomes like the Abyss and the Sulphurous Sea, new bosses like the Devourer of Gods and the Brimstone Elemental, Supreme Calamitas, on and on I can go on, and new weapons that greatly enhance the player's abilities even past the very final boss of the game. Another popular mod is the Terraria mod, which also adds a bunch of biomes, bosses, items, and new mechanics to the game, right? These mods and many others like them have helped to keep Terraria fresh and exciting long after the release of the base game. They allow players to customize their experience in ways they're never intended by the original developers, and have helped to foster a strong sense of community among Terraria fans. Frankly, if it wasn't for any of these mods, my channel wouldn't be here, so thank you to all the mod developers once again. Overall, the modding community has played an important role in the continued success of Terraria and has helped to ensure that the game remains relevant and enjoyable for years to come. Whether you're looking for small tweaks or major overhauls, there's something for everyone in the world of Terraria mods. As Terraria's popularity grew, it quickly became clear that the game was too good to be limited to just one platform. In 2011, the game was released on PC and it quickly gained a dedicated fan base, but it wasn't long before other platforms took notice, and Terraria was eventually ported to Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile devices. Each version of the game brought with it some new features and improvements, as well as unique challenges and, sadly, limitations. For example, the mobile version of the game had to be controlled with smaller screens and less powerful hardware, while the console versions had to find ways to adapt the game's controls to a gamepad. Despite these challenges, Terraria continued to thrive on each new platform it was released on. In fact, the mobile version of the game has been particularly successful and has been downloaded over 27 million times both on iOS and Android. The 1.3 update of Terraria was a highly anticipated release among fans of the game. It was released in 2015, 2 years after the previous major update, and brought a vast amount of content, features, and gameplay mechanics to the game. The addition of Moonlord was one of the most significant events in Terraria history. Moonlord was first introduced in the 1.3 update as the game's final boss, and he quickly became one of the most challenging and rewarding encounters in the game. To summon the Moonlord, the player must first defeat the lunatic cultist, which spawns in the jungle after you defeat Golem. Once the cultist is defeated, a celestial event called the lunar event will begin, which consists of 4 various pillars that you have to take out, and once you take out all the pillars, the Moonlord will spawn, ready to take on the player. Moonlord is a massive, overworldly creature with multiple phases and attacks. He has a variety of devastating attacks that can easily wipe out unprepared players, including a powerful laser beam and a barrage of homing missiles. However, with the right equipment and strategy, players can take down the Moonlord and claim the valuable rewards he drops. Defeating Moonlord is no easy feat, but it is a highly rewarding experience for players who are up to the challenge. Overall, the addition of Moonlord was a major milestone for Terraria as it provided players with a challenging and satisfying endgame experience. It also helped to solidify Terraria's reputation as one of the most engaging and content-rich sandbox games on the market. Another major addition in the 1.3 update was the introduction of Expert Mode, a new difficulty setting that challenged even the most seasoned Terraria players. Expert Mode made enemies tougher, increased their damage output, and gave them new abilities, making battles far more intense and rewarding. The update also added a number of new items and weapons, including a whole new set of endgame armor, which is essentially the most powerful sets of armor post Moonlord for every single class that you're playing as classes except Thrower. We miss you, Thrower class. The update also added new NPCs, and in addition, the 1.3 update added a number of new biomes to the game, including the underground desert, the granite biome, the marble cave, and all these biomes featured unique enemies, materials, and structures, and provided new challenges and opportunities for players to explore. The update also introduced a number of quality of life improvements, including the ability to stack multiple potions in a single inventory slot, an improved inventory management system, and new hotkey options for quickly using items and weapons. Overall, the 1.3 update was a major milestone for Terraria, and it helped to cement the game's reputation as one of the best sandbox games of all time. The new update added a wealth of new content, features, and gameplay mechanics to the game, and it helped to keep players engaged and excited about the world of Terraria for years to come. Terraria's continued success can be attributed in part to the dedication of its development team, which has worked tirelessly over the years to create new content and improve the game's overall quality. This commitment to ongoing development has helped to keep the game fresh and engaging for both new and long-time players. The release of Terraria 1.4, also known as the Journey's End update, was a major event in the Terraria community. This update added a staggering amount of new content into the game, which included tons of items, a bunch of new enemies, and our beloved Queen Slime and Empress of Light boss. It also introduced a variety of new mechanics and quality of life improvements that made the game overall more enjoyable to play. One of the most significant additions in the Journey's End update was the inclusion of the Master Mode, a new difficulty setting that offers an even greater challenge to experienced players. Master Mode increases the strength and health of enemies while also introducing new mechanics and exclusive items that can only be obtained in this mode. Another major addition in this update was the inclusion of new biomes such as the Oasis. These biomes introduce new enemies, items, and mechanics to the game, further expanding the possibilities for players to explore and discover. In addition to these major updates, the development team has also worked to continually improve the game's performance, fix bugs, and address player feedback. This ongoing commitment to quality has helped to cement Terraria's status as one of the most beloved and enduring indie games of all time. Overall, Terraria's journey from humble beginnings to its current status as a gaming icon is a testament to the power of creativity, work, and dedication. With each new update and expansion, the game continues to evolve and grow, offering players a rich and rewarding sandbox experience unlike anything else in the gaming world. Terraria is currently available on a wide range of platforms including PC, Xbox One, Xbox One X, PS5, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Switch, and mobile devices. This game has sold over 35 million copies across all platforms, making it one of the best-selling indie games of all time, and despite being over a decade old, Terraria continues to receive updates and support from its developers, ensuring that the game remains fresh and engaging for both new and longtime players. The game's thriving modding community also contributes to its ongoing popularity, with a wealth of custom content available for players to download and enjoy. In addition to its popularity among players, Terraria has also received critical acclaim over the years, with many reviewers praising its engaging gameplay, expansive world, and simple but yet charming graphics. The game has won numerous awards, including the best indie game at the 2011 Spike Video Game Awards, and just so many other ones that I won't even mention here. Overall, Terraria's continued success and popularity are a testament to the enduring appeal of sandbox-style games, as well as the creativity and dedication of its development team and community. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history of Terraria. I hope you enjoyed the video and gained a greater appreciation for this incredible game and the people who made it all possible. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out our gaming supplement in the very first link in the description. Better than literally anything else on the market. Join our Discord as well if you want to. But this has been Boyo. Peace out.